Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new video with book recommendations. My name is Flor and if you're new here, hi, welcome. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell to be notified of every time I upload a new video. So last month in October 2020, I uploaded my first video with book recommendations where I shared 5 of the books I read in the past year or two and that I enjoyed the most. If you haven't watched that video, it will be linked down below in the description box and also up here so you can go and watch that. Since you really seem to like that video and I really like reading books, this time I am sharing 5 more new books I read in 2020 that I really liked and I think you're gonna like as well. So let's get started with today's video. The first book I have to recommend is called This Is Going to Hurt: Secret Diaries of a Junior Doctor by Adam Kay. This is probably one of my favorite books of 2020. It was published before 2020, but I read it this year and I loved it. I mean, I really like it. So Adam Kay was a junior doctor from 2004 until 2010. During this time, he kept a diary where he described his days and his experience working in different hospitals in the front line of the NHS. If you don't know or you're not from the UK, the NHS, the National Health Service, is a publicly funded health service in the United Kingdom. So this basically means that you can go to different hospitals, be treated, be admitted, have surgery, whatever you might need, basically for free. So as you might imagine, in this 6 years working as a junior doctor in different hospitals, he treated a lot of people, he dealt with a lot of situations, and I think it's a really honest report on what it's like working as a doctor. But not only that, he shares a lot about joy, about pain, about sacrifice, about dealing with bureaucracy. Overall, I think it's a great account of what his working years as a doctor were like, and also a love letter to doctors, to these people that maybe at one point might be actually holding our lives in their hands. This book really made me laugh a lot. He's really funny and he shared a lot of things that really make you laugh. It made me cry a bit because, of course, dealing with patients and dealing with illnesses and surgeries, of course, there's some sad parts in that. But overall, it gave me this first-hand experience of what his life was like, and whether or not at some point of your life you wanted to be a doctor, and maybe you know someone who wants to be a doctor, one way or the other, I think you should totally read this book. It's very well written, it's very honest, very raw, and very entertaining. So 10 out of 10 for sure. The second book I have to recommend is called The Husband's Secrets by Lia Moriarty. You might know Lia Moriarty by now. She's the author of Big Little Lies. That is a book that was turned into a TV show that aired on HBO. And she also wrote the book What Alice Forgot that I recommended on the first video about book recommendations that will be linked up here and also down below if you want to watch it. Now, this time we're going to talk about The Husband's Secrets. So, in order to do this, you have to imagine that your husband wrote a letter. In this letter, he wrote down his deepest, darkest secret that has the potential of altering not only your life but almost the life of everyone around you. Now imagine you find this letter written by your husband when he's very much alive. So this happens to Cecilia Fitzpatrick. She's one of the main characters in this book. She's a mother, she's a wife, she's a pillar of her community, she helps at the school, she has a really great relationship with her neighbors, with the people around her, and now she knows her husband's secret and she has to somehow manage and figure out what to do with that, because what his husband has done not only affects her life, her husband's life, her children's life, but also a lot of people in the community she lives in. So Moriarty, as usual, does a really great job describing the characters, describing how they feel, what they're like. In that sense, I really like this book. However, I think that once you find out what the husband's secrets really is, which is somehow at the middle of the book, I think the rest of the book becomes a little bit predictable maybe. But I think overall it is a great book. I would still recommend it. It has a bit of mystery, it has a lot about relationships. It's a great book. I really liked it and I think you should read it as well. The third book I have to recommend is called Such a Fun Age by Kiley Reid. The story is mainly about Amira. Amira is a young black woman. She works as a babysitter for the Chamberlains, which are a white couple that lives in Philadelphia. One night they have an emergency and they call Amira in order to take their toddler, Brer, to the local grocery store to distract her for a little while. While she's at the grocery store, the security guard accuses Amira of kidnapping Brer. And while this happens, there's another shopper at the store that films everything on their phone. So the book moves on from this point and we get to see a bit of Amira's life, a bit of Alex Chamberlain's life, which is the mother of the toddler, the relationship between them, and also what happens with this person which was filming everything at the store. When Black Lives Matter protests were happening all around the world earlier this year, I talked a lot on my Instagram about the importance of incorporating new and different voices into your life. And I'm not only talking about the people you watch on the news or the people you elect to Congress, but also about the people you follow on social media, the books you read, the TV shows you watch, the movies you watch. Kylie Reed, the author of this book, is a Black author, and I feel that the book talks about privilege, about race, also gives just like a glimpse, like an idea of what other people might experience, what other people might go through that might not be the case for you, for me, or for someone else. So I think it helps you have greater understanding, maybe a little more empathy, more knowledge. I think it's a way of getting to know other people's perspective, other people's way of living their life, how they might encounter themselves in different situations, how they might react to them. Overall, I would totally recommend this book, and the great news is that Lena Waithe has acquired the rights to turn it into either a TV show or a movie, so it might be coming to either the big screen or the small screen very, very soon. And the fourth and fifth book are connected. They are written by the same author. She's called Karen McManus, and the first book is called One of Us is Lying, and then the sequel to that is called One of Us is Next. So we're gonna talk about One of Us is Lying first. On Monday afternoon, 5 students of Bayview High walk into detention, but only 4 of them came out. One of them is more an athlete, one of them is more like the popular girl, there's the other one that's more like the brains, we have another one that's a bit of a criminal, and then we have an outcast. He's called Simon, he has a gossip blog, and before the end of detention, he's dead. And the police think this was not an accident, so we obviously have 4 other suspects, which are the only people that were in the room when he died. And not only that, but the police discovered that he had this blog, this gossip blog, and he was gonna publish secrets about these 4 students on the next day. So in a way, it feels like all of them have a motive to get him killed, so their secrets don't come out. For me, this book was a really easy and enjoyable read. It is YA, young adults, so if you don't really like young adult, maybe stay away from it. But if you like reading young adult books, I think you're gonna really like this one. I didn't find it predictable and really didn't find out what was going on until the very end. So I think overall it's a great mystery thriller read. And it has a sequel, as I mentioned before, which is called One of Us is Next by the same author, Karen McManus. And as we learned on the first book, Simon has died. And when he died, his gossip app sort of like died with him. A lot of like copycat apps pop here and there, but none of them are at the same level that his app was, up until a new game appears, Truth or Dare. And as you might know, in this game, you either share a truth, share a secret, or you do a dare. And doing a dare means doing something that is either silly or maybe difficult, or maybe scary, or maybe dangerous, in exchange, of course, of not sharing a truth, of not sharing a secret. Phoebe, Maeve, and Knox, students of Bayview High, are some of the first targets, and everything seems to be sort of like going on okay, up until another student winds up dead. I think overall, this book is a great sequel for the first one. It's a different type of mystery, it's a different type of story, but it's still very, very good, very well written, and it does its job. It's a young adult mystery thriller, and it's great at it. So overall, I would recommend both these books by Karen McManus, and I know at least the first one is going to be a TV show very, very soon. I know they're shooting it. And that's it for today's video. Those are the 5 books I wanted to recommend. Let me know down below in the comments if you have read any of these 5 books, and if not, let me know what you're reading, what you would recommend. I'm always on the hunt for new books because I really like reading books. If you like everything about reading and books, you should follow me on Instagram. I post weekly reviews over there of the new books I've read, and I'm sharing what I'm reading at the moment. You can find me at Flo Pereira, like you're gonna see right here on Instagram, and you can also search for me on Goodreads. I'm Flo Pereira over there as well. Everything will be linked down below for you to check it out. And as I mentioned at the beginning, if you like this video and haven't watched the first video about book recommendations, you should do that. It will be linked down below in the description box. And as always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and activate the bell notifications to be notified of every new video every single week. See you on the next one. Bye!